All right, what's up, everybody? So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what they're saying is a Chinese spy balloon again. And I talked about this the last time it happened was last year. And it's my belief this isn't a Chinese spy balloon at all. And I said that at the time, it's one of ours. It's from the United States of America. And you got to really think about things critically and in depth here. So NORAD has identified this balloon, and it's been seen going from Utah, and it's supposed to be headed to Georgia. I think where these things are released from are from the West Coast, basically. And you got to really think it's at an elevation between 40 to 45,000, and I think it's at 42,000 feet. The only way a balloon can get that high is if it has an anti-gravity device, flotation device. And I reported last time that that's in a canister in the middle of the balloon. Now, people are saying that this balloon has a box that's about 2 feet on each side with, I think, strings coming down. That almost sounds like a hot air balloon that you would see like if you're playing the Pokemon game that I play all the time with Team Rocket on there. But unless it's Team Rocket, and I don't think it is, I think this is one of our own. And it's got, like I said, an anti-gravity flotation device in it, which projects it all the way up to 40 to 45,000 feet. Now, there have been a lot of fears associated with this thing, and let me harken back to last year. It seems like nothing happened when those, what they called Chinese spy balloons, were put out last year. Nothing really happened now that we know of. But people were like, well, is this an EMP attack? Are they going to release a biological contaminant on us? And of course, you've got to know that what we talked about on the last video yesterday was that the cell phone outages across the United States. And I believe that that is due not because of this balloon that is out there, but it's more, I think, caused by the nuclear aircrafts that have been flying over various parts of the United States. And it seems like wherever these paths are, these nuclear aircrafts, these Boeing 600 series aircrafts, are flying at unusually low elevations. Your cell phone outages are being reported, and it's mostly through AT&T and Verizon. It's not necessarily through T-Mobile so much, even though at the beginning of the year, if you remember with T-Mobile, they had the thing coming out where they were going to be able to shut certain things down if you didn't comply, and or you would get charged extra. I am a T-Mobile customer. I haven't noticed any problems so far, thank God. Now, of course, it's only in February, and we're about to hit March here, so who knows what happens the rest of 2024. But we know something big is on the horizon. Now, I don't think you should be getting too worked up about the balloon myself, but you got to understand that NORAD has already identified it, and they're just allowing it to fly. So they're saying it's not a threat to national security, but they don't know what it is, and they don't know where it's coming from. Well, that's a lie. It's political theater. They're allowing these balloons to go. Otherwise, there's no human life on it. All they have to do is just shoot it out of the air. And if they truly believe it's a Chinese spy balloon, the first thing they would do is just take it out. But they're not doing that. So it tells you right then and there, it's not Chinese spy balloon, and people need to stop saying it is, because it's one of our own. But you also have to understand that these people that are releasing them, maybe at first they didn't think we would see it because it's at such a high elevation, but they know that we're all going to report on it now, and that's what they want. It's a distraction. It's just to get us looking in the sky, pointing up at the air, and say, look, a balloon. But it's a distraction for whatever else is either going on right now or about to go on right now, and there's a lot going on all the time, and we've been talking about a lot of the kids, human trafficking, going missing and stuff like that. It's also election year. I mean, we don't have much longer to go. And my thoughts on that regarding election year is, if you hearken back to the book, The Last President, written in 1800, by Ingersoll Rand, a lot of you guys have heard about this book by now. It's not new news, but it talks about how a man named Don Trump would be the last president, and he had a son by the name of Baron Trump who would go and travel to Russia. A lot of that's making sense with what's going on right now. And that book also said that when he was elected the first time, there were riots in New York City and stuff like that, and that Baron Trump was a very tall man. Well, if you look at Donald Trump's son, Barron, he's very tall. I think he's like 6'7". So we don't know if it was a time traveler that wrote the book or what it exactly is, but I personally believe it's true, and maybe it was a time traveler that wrote it. I don't know. But I think that a lot of the events depicted have already played out as true, and I think that we're not going to have an election. I don't think there's going to be an election this year. I mean, you look at Joe Biden right now. Many of you guys already know this. It's not the real Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. It's a body clone. It's a stunt double, whatever you want to call the guy. It's not him. He's probably been killed as of 2016 or 2018. And before you go and say that this is QAnon stuff, many smart people have looked at pictures over the years of Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., and the earlobes have been attached and they've been detached in different pictures throughout the years. That is not possible unless you're using another person wearing a prosthetic mask. And we've seen those prosthetic masks being used on a lot of people before. So this is all political theater. It's all a bunch of overgrown toddlers playing a game of house, and they think that we're stupid enough and we're just going to buy into it. Or even if we don't buy into it, they think we're powerless to do anything about it. Well, we the people hold the power, and now that we know what's really going on, we hold the ticket. Now, on January 6th, a few years ago, they've gotten a lot of people and they've still got them in prison. Those people that they wanted to say they were trying to do an insurrection and stuff like that, but really there was undercover FBI agents by the name of Ray Epps and others that were there and trying to basically trick people and imprison them, basically set us up. It was a coup d'etat. We already know that. Patriots know it the world over. But the people who think they are in charge, think they hold all the power, well, they've got news for you, because there's a lot of people that are awake in this country, and a lot of people are tired of the bullshit that's been going on. Now, let's talk about some other things. We want to talk about Trump a little more. You've got Letitia James. I think she's either a lawyer or a judge in New York City going after Trump and ordering him to pay $345 million, or else Trump Tower is going to be taken over by these idiot liberals in New York City. And they're trying to say that it's just another domino falling on Trump. I think because he's a Christian and people just don't want him to have power again. So they're doing anything and everything in their power to try to thwart him from coming back to the presidency. And they're just saying that he had unlawful business practices. That's what they're trying to say. So they're ordering him to pay another $345 million, or they take Trump Tower over. If I were Trump, what I would say is just have it. Just take it. And I would pull all his businesses out of New York State. It's an enema in the United States. I wouldn't want to live there. I don't recommend other people to live there. Inflation's through the roof. Everything's sky high there. Your rent is way too much. It's just not worth it for me personally, but it is what it is. So that's what I would do if I was Trump. Just pull all his businesses out of New York and just write him off. Be done with him. They can't hold power if he's got no businesses over there. Either way, he's going to take a big hit, but that's why you see the Trump gold sneakers coming out right now, and he's trying to recover a little bit of what he's about to lose, basically. Now, I want to move on to some people were worried about the Chinese spy balloon being not an EMP, but cyber attack. And I want to talk a little bit about an actual cyber attack that happened last month in Washington County, Pennsylvania. I've got relatives that live over there, elderly relatives. And it's, for you guys that don't know where Washington County, Pennsylvania is, it's just to the southeast of Pittsburgh, or southwest of Pittsburgh. So if you were to identify Pittsburgh on a map, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and draw a line to the southwest as you're going to West Virginia, you're going to, not far from that, it's a suburb, you're going to run into the city of Washington, and that's in Washington County. Well, I guess it was these Russian hackers who got into the computer systems of Washington County Courthouse. And that was on January 19th. Well, 5 days later, even though it was identified right away that this is what's happening, nobody could stop it. And 5 days later, on January 24th, it developed into a malware attack. And a malware attack is really big because basically it compromised the security, privacy, and maybe even the safety of every resident, every child in Washington County, Pennsylvania. So these officials, these government officials, you've got the, what do you call them? The three council chair people, whatever they are, city commissioners, I'm sorry. The 3 city commissioners, they got together and they voted 2-1 in favor of paying how much was it? Actually, I think it turned into, I could be wrong on this figure, I think it was like 76 million to these Russian hackers. And they did it, and they didn't want to, but they bit the bullet on it. And basically, once they paid it, then they got access back to their computer systems again. But once you see that there is a city that can just be taken over in their infrastructure of computers like that, that could happen anywhere. It doesn't have to be in Pennsylvania. It could be your hometown. It could be any city in the United States. So what's stopping it? Are we all just going to bow down and cower to these hackers in cybersecurity warfare? It's just another thing to add to the pile that we've got going on right now, and it's a lot. I do want to talk a little bit about Michelle Obama, and some people think that I'm going to call her an it. I'm not going to call her an her, because it's not a her. We've been lied to all along. It's a man by the name of Michael LaVaughn Robinson. And I told people when I was in the Army about this years ago. I've known this for probably about 10 years, ever since Joan Rivers came out about it way back when. And then she was murdered not long after that in the hospital. They got into her IV and put an illegal substance in there and killed her because she came out that Barack Obama was a homosexual, or maybe he's bisexual, I don't know. But he was lying about it, and he was married to a man that essentially got transgender surgery and was lying about his identity, because it was Michael LaVaughn Robinson, who was a football player at Oregon State. And somewhere along the line, you got Barack Obama, who's really born in Kenya. That was a lie too, even though they said he was born in Hawaii. He came over to Hawaii during his high school years and played basketball there. But he was not born in the United States of America at all. And really, Barack Obama is one of the grandsons of Hitler. He's got direct lineage to Adolf Hitler. So the powers that be, they are very deceptive in doing this kind of stuff. And you're not always going to see it unless you take time over years and connect all the dots. But yeah, basically when Hitler's, it's been a while, so I might not have everything right, but I think it was Hitler's daughter went over to Argentina during Operation Paperclip. Operation Paperclip, some of them went down to Argentina, and a lot of the German Nazi scientists went over to the United States. And they spreading their fascist ideas and stuff like that. They're evil. Well, when he was over in Argentina, Hitler ended up finding a wife over there, and then they moved back to Kenya. And then that wife ended up leaving him or something, but she got with another man and had Obama in Africa or something. Like I said, I don't have everything exactly right. It's been a couple years since I saw that information, but I just know that Barack Obama has lineage to Adolf Hitler. So, is he really controlling the scenes of Biden? You bet. I'm sure he is. And it's not even a real Biden, it's some guy wearing a prosthetic mask. So I know that's a lot for a lot of people to digest, and that's fine. If you don't believe it all, no problems, no worries. But I wanted to kind of come at you about some of the political theater that's going on right now regarding the Chinese spy balloon. It's not from China. If it was, they would have already taken it out. They're just trying to drum up future warfare, is what this is. And we've already got the war in Ukraine going on with Zelensky, who is one of the most evil men in the world. He's been doing drag queen stuff. He's another homosexual. I mean, it's out there. People know it. And the war largely has been faked, but Russia's really one of the good guys. They come out there and they say that we're not backing down. We're going to keep sending troops over there and everything. And that part is true, but a lot of the stuff was faked from video games. They used video game footage to emulate what's really supposedly going on in Ukraine. And don't forget about the war in Israel as well. I mean, that's still going on. So we're never going to get a break from all this. Are they going to drop nukes on us next? I don't know. But we've got nuclear aircrafts going around right now from state to state. So it's a very real possibility, because those aircrafts that have been flying at very low altitudes and spinning around in circles, they are responsible for giving the nuclear submarines the official word on when to launch nuclear weapons. Because sometimes people think it's just dropped from an airplane. Well, sometimes it's corroborated with nuclear submarines as well. It's a coordinated effort. But just pay attention to what's going on, because the balloons are a distractor, and I think something big is about to happen if it's not already happening. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate this. If you like this content, feel free to subscribe. We are pushing a little bit closer to 1,000 subscribers. We're about to hit 700 here, and we are going to continue our coverage of a lot of the missing people in our city. There's a lot going on in our local city right now, and one more note, actually, I do want to end on this, is our schools are taking a hit here locally in Wood County, West Virginia. They are announcing a reduction of $10 million. And a lot of that was from coronavirus pandemic relief funds. They are now drying up. But they also have noted that we are about to lose 168 positions over the next year that they have to somehow figure out to get rid of, between teachers, principals, administrative staff, you name it, assistants, substitute teachers. The schools are all going to still have a nurse. They're all still going to have extra instructional support at the elementary level. But they've now acknowledged that due to the drugs here killing a lot of people, and due to the factories that have dried up from the 1980s and 90s, here in Parkersburg, West Virginia, the city's not what it used to be. And even in the last 2 years, we have actually reduced our population size by 18%. That's crazy to think about. That's crazy. So now the money's not there for schools. And public schools, as you know, what are they controlled by? The government. Where do they get their funding from? The government. So they're keeping a close eye on the population, and when it's not there, they're not going to give extra money to it. That's why we always want to tell people, if you can do it, homeschool your kids. It's very important to homeschool your kids in this day and age to make sure they get quality education that's not brainwashed. And we're going to come out about some of that brainwashed stuff that they've been feeding us from birth on, not just kindergarten, but birth. We're going to have a big awakening event right now, and a lot of you guys are already awake, and that's why I'm glad to have you here on the channel. You know, this isn't just for everybody. It's for people who really know what's going on a lot of things. So again, I thank you. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and we're going to come at you with more coverage of the missing people here. Stay tuned.